What's going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Trading My Funded Account. Today is day number 58. It's January the 3rd, 2024. We made some trades today, so let's get into it. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about trade number one. Let's get right to it. So for trade number one, I went long here based on the retest of the higher low. But this trade was less likely to work because of the lower high that got formed right here at A. And if you look at it, it really just follows a series of lower highs that have been formed. Now, you can't really see it because this is where the market opened, but leading up into the market open, we were already in a pretty strong downtrend. I think yesterday's closing price was 37,999. So we were already at least 100 points below that. So that tells us right there that the trend is down. So if the trend is down, even if you do see that higher low setup start to form, you still want to make sure that you scan the area to the left of it, make sure that there's no bearish signs within the immediate vicinity, because anytime you see a bearish sign anywhere close to what is a higher low, if you see those bearish signs, it invalidates that higher low that you're looking at, and it means that you can use that higher low, but you don't want to use it to go long. Instead, you want to expect for prices to break past that higher low. And then once they come back to retest what used to be support, it should turn into resistance. And then that's when you short it. So right here on trade one, I just played this setup wrong. When it comes to the higher low setup, you want to make sure that when you're in a strong downtrend, you always expect the break of the higher low, meaning that you expect for the higher low to fail instead of expecting for the higher low to be successful. So that's always something you got to remember. Just in strong downtrends, always make sure that you expect the failure of the higher low and stick to the downside. Don't even look at the long trades at all until the market just clearly turns around and gives you signs that say, hey, the uptrend is on. But until then, just ride it out, let the downtrend play out, and participate at the right times from the right prices. So that's the biggest thing I learned right there on trade number one. So we see the downtrend continue. We eventually came back to retest those levels from that prior higher low at trade number one. We retested that twice. We formed a double top, and then from that point forward, made a lower high, continue pushing all the way back down to trade number two. So at trade number two, I shorted here as prices came back to retest the prior lower high at B right here. So this lower high was exactly what I was looking for in order to just confirm that the downtrend was still legit, because we had a big break of a major level right here past a prior double bottom, broke past that with pretty much no regard, and then we finally formed our first lower high right here. So I just wanted for prices to come back, retest that level, and then as they started to move away from it, that's where I shorted at trade two. But this ended up being a break-even trade, and I'm okay with that because that protected me from having to see prices come all the way back to retest this prior breakout level, which when you think about it, that's exactly what the market should do. When you break out from a major level of support, if the trend is really strong, they should come back, retest that, and then that should act as a key breakout level. And that's pretty much exactly what I saw happen at trade number three, right here at this lower high from C. So notice how when we pushed up on this one move, we did come all the way back on this wick to touch the bottom of the zone, right? But if you look at what happened after this candle closed, we pushed back up to that point one more time. But this specific candle right here, the top of this wick, was not able to come back and test the highs from the previous wick. So this right here at C is a lower high. So once I saw that lower high get formed, I said, okay, I see that the trend is down. So if prices come back and they retest that level, that's where I want to go short from. So I shorted right here and then just took it back down to my scalp target right towards the lows of that. We could call this a swing low right here. I took this back down to the lows. Now, the only thing that I would say is maybe I could have held on for maybe like another, this was 750. Yeah, I could have held on for maybe another 15 points and just held it all the way back down to this higher low that got established right after trade number two. Now, in the moment, I wasn't thinking about that at all. But now that I'm looking back on it, it makes a lot of sense because it ran straight down to that level. But I'm happy with my performance for today. I think the trade from trade number one is really what threw me off, and I think that's just a reminder to start off the year is that don't get sucked in into a very strong uptrend on a daily chart. We know that the overall trend is up, but that doesn't mean that from day to day there can't be days like this where the market is moving down. So if you do encounter a market like this where prices are moving down, you don't want to just get married to the idea of going long at every higher low you see. You still need to respect the market price action that you see in front of you. And as long as you do that, you should be good. So I just need to make sure that I keep a keen eye to what the market is telling me. Don't come into the market and try and trade what I think it should be, what I think it should do. I just need to trade what it's doing. And if I do that on a consistent basis, I feel like this should be the start of a very good year. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in with me today. I hope you learned a lot about making sure that you leave your biases at the front door and just trade what's in front of you. I'll be back tomorrow on January 4th, 2024, ready to run it back. If you haven't checked out the live session for today's trade, make sure you go check that out in the live video section. I'm back doing that again this year. So I'll see you guys tomorrow on the 4th. But until then, have a good one, study hard, and take it easy.